Hi.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so
We
much.
have Mr. Ayush Arora with us. He's the Vice President at Hive Minds, which is a digital advertising company.
Yes.
And we'll let you, Ayush, first tell us a little about what is Hive Minds about and how is it different from how is it different from so many other competitors that are delivering those kind of services?
So there are many differences broadly. One, we are primarily focused on generating as sustainable revenue as possible. We have been like this since before the funding winter started. So initially when the startups came to us, some of them wanted to scale at a blitzkrieg space, and we would tell them, hey, you know what, business sense does not make. We are those people who would go to them and say, hey, you know what, don't spend more money with us, don't give us more commission, spend lesser, it makes more sense for business. That is one thing which appalled most of our founders and clients. That is one. Secondly, and importantly, even when it comes to innovations, like Facebook, Google, they're getting more and more machine learning driven. We have been able to figure out innovations across scale, and there are many agencies who would bring in new clients, large clients, but they would keep them for 2 years, 2.5 years. Many of our clients are more than 7-year, 10-year old also. So there is a reason why they continue their business partnerships. Since we work so closely with startups like BigBasket, right? So they joined us like more than 10 years ago when they were a very small company. We have worked with them through ages, through multiple rounds of funding. Even after they got acquired by Tata, they have continued to be with us. Many agencies would have pitched them, obviously, but then they continue to be with us because we understand the business, we understand the DNA.
Understood. How big is the team right now?
Overall, 400 people.
400 people across your 4 geographies.
4 geographies,
right?
Yes.
Where all are you present?
Bangalore is the central office. I mean, it's headquartered in Bangalore. We have Gurgaon, Mumbai, and Dubai. I lead the Gurgaon branch.
Understood. And when you talk about startups, like you mentioned, a lot of startups are startups that have grown into bigger companies. I know Google also calls itself a startup yet till now, so there's no fine definition. But what would be some of the great names that you worked with?
Broadly speaking, if I particularly focus on startups and double click, who have stayed with us when they were startups back then, BigBasket, it's very difficult to call them a startup yet, but they came to us when they were small. CultFit is another one. They came to us when they were very small. SugarFit is a subsidiary kind of. So they also came to us and then we have grown them. And through their multiple marketing journeys, through cutting down of spends, through shuffle, especially when it comes to funding winter, that has still they have continued their confidence with us.
So those are some great names to have in your kitty. Now with CultFit, and we hear that the IPO is about to happen. Do you take pre-IPO shares as a vendor who has been so good with them, or what's the deal like?
No, we usually do not. In fact, we can't even comment on it. But broadly speaking, we are deeply invested. Our skin is in the game with them because startups need that kind of commitment. Otherwise, then it is simply like having any other partner. That what differentiates us anyway.
Right. So when you say digital advertising, we understand there's this ad amount that gets allotted, and then you deploy it in the right on the right platforms depending on which company you're working for, who's the TG like. Do you also do the campaign planning and the creative aspect also?
End to end. Startups come to us. They say, hey, I have this much money. These are my business numbers. Go figure out what to do, and you do it. This is my team. You sync with them and get it done.
Any popular campaign names that you would want to highlight that Hive Minds would have taken care of?
CultFit has many campaigns like that. Of course, we do a lot with them. Tanishq is another one. Tanishq is one of our favorite ones. Not a startup per se, obviously, but then we work with them when they launched one of our new brands called Earth Bags. So they're spelled very differently. IRTH is how they are spelled. They came to us that hey, we want to launch a whole new brand. So yeah, we started up with their setting up the campaign, setting up the whole account for somebody as large as Tanishq, and slowly and steadily, we have grown to a good number, and they are month on month increasing their market share in the max segment, which is a very competitive segment, by the way.
Great. No, absolutely. So Ayush, what's the kind of annual revenue that Hive Minds is doing right now?
So you can say approximately 48 to 50.
Right. And what would be the ad amounts that you're managing?
So broadly, we will be, by the end of this year, we'll be managing around 1,000 crores.
Interesting. No, that's a remarkable size to attain in 13 years, you mentioned, right? Yeah. That's great to know. So Ayush, how long have you been with Hive Minds?
Almost 2 years now.
2 years now.
Yeah.
So from a growth story perspective, what do you think was different with Hive Minds 2 years ago and today? Like any major changes that you see or things that were worked upon so that today you are where you are?
Sure. Company cultures as well as company is alignment with our clients is a living, breathing, entity, right? I mean, we have been in stages before COVID when every company was getting funded and they simply wanted to scale up. That includes the fintech and crypto startups who wanted to scale. Then like there is no tomorrow.
Yeah.
Then COVID happened, and during COVID, everybody wanted to scale back and manage their spends smartly. Of course, there were a few which were scaling up, like EdTech. So we helped them do that as well during that time. And after that, since the funding winter has begun, and I don't know when it ends, unless US does not go into a recession, I do not know. So we have been more business-like with them. But during all of these journeys, our focus is centrally focusing on how the client business should feel like business. It should not feel like, okay, just a scale-up campaign.
Yeah. Sure. And I understand this is a very industry agnostic business, right? But which would be your top 1 or 2 industries that you organically end up catering to?
We do a lot of app marketing campaigns. That is one. Secondly, we do a lot of e-commerce. So these are the 2 top ones. But again, we cater to like 12 categories, and we have startups all across. Multiple names all across.
Right. And what percentage of the business comes from outside versus in India?
Around 75% will be from domestic.
Okay.
Remaining is from international.
And why is that? Like you mentioned about the funding winter, and I understand for the next 6 months it's pretty much going to be like that. But before that, things were still like we hear a lot of agencies who get over 50 to 70% business from outside also, and because India market has its own challenges also. So how come you're maintaining a ratio like this?
It's not that we are agnostic or we don't like getting to work with the international clients. It's that we really believe in the India story. The way Indians have scaled up businesses, I understand that many startups are bound to fail, and which is understandable. But then broadly speaking, startups have grown more and more stronger, and at the same time they've become very resilient lately. Especially even through the Paytm discussion that has happened lately, right? The way the team has been responding, because we know people there. The way they have been responding, it's fantastic. No comments to how it is, what is the legal requirement, what needs to be done. We don't know. But broadly, from a marketing perspective, the effort that they're putting in from surviving this turbulence that they have, Indian startups are very resilient. So yeah, we believe in the story.
Sure. So Ayush, something came to my mind. So when we talk about offline agencies, you have these OOH companies, and they also handle a lot of different budget from different industries. So they came up with one campaign, I think during COVID, where they got all these FMCG companies where people stopped buying too much, right, around COVID time. So they got 5-7 of them to do a combined campaign together. 8 बजने वाले हैं मोदी जी, something around that, because he used to come at 8 o'clock and announce, and then people would go crazy buying grocery. So has Hive Minds so far tried putting together 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players of one industry and tried building a campaign, offering it to them yet, or is that something that as an industry leader you would want to do?
So it depends. It really depends on the way people behave. Do we connect one startup to another because it simply makes business sense? Absolutely. In fact, when we work closely with BigBasket also has begun to offer their services to other startups in terms of small digital spaces, or when they want to promote their own products on BigBasket itself. So of course we connect some of them, but then that's not primarily something we do. By the way, just to also highlight, we are a part of Madison Group. Which is the oldest and largest independent offline media agency in India. So we've it's been a couple of years, we have been acquired by them up to a small portion. And yeah, we've been a part of them for quite some time. So we do a lot of offline and online together. Understood. Yeah. Makes sense.
So I'm going to ask some very quick questions, and you can tell me your view on that. So one thing is, with agencies, we see a lot of attrition also, because a person comes learning only Facebook and then he goes out learning all other possible platforms. So it becomes a good catch for the industry, right? So for you, how have you tried to tackle this hiring or retention problem in a service-based business?
So there are 3 things to look at. One, the industry works in a certain way that agencies are supposed to be, they usually have higher attrition numbers, and it is perfectly okay. The idea is that you can of course do things better, but can you completely change the tide? No, it's not possible, and it's a futile effort. Having said that, we do have several people in our upper management as well as middle management where they have stayed with us for 7 years, 10 years also. So the point is very simple. Can you create a win-win situation for us as well as the team member? If you are able to do this year and year again, of course they are willing to stay. In fact, a lot of people have come back after they have quit. That's something we take sweet pride in. People go out, they see, oh, this is worse. I thought it will be beautiful, grass will be greener on the other side, and some people come back. And frankly speaking, people have careers are 30 years long, and we are more than happy to contribute to a part of their career if they want to, and that's perfectly fine. We wish them all the success. It's not a problem.
Great. One thing that you would look for in any candidate across roles in the company while the teams are hiring, what would that be?
Two things. I primarily look at two things when I'm hiring, besides technical knowledge, depending on the role. One is curiosity. Does this person have the curiosity to learn? Otherwise, this person will not be able to stay for too long in a very fast-paced environment.
Correct.
Okay. Second is ownership. I think ownership is something which is everybody wants.
And how would we judge ownership in the interview, let's say?
You can't. You basically ask them, you can't judge directly. You can only ask questions which allow them to explain their previous instances. And I've been interviewing for the last 5-6 years at least, more than that actually. So yeah, I mean, you kind of have an eye, slowly begin building an eye to understand if the guy really knows what he's talking about.
Great. Which department within the company takes maximum time to close any open role?
It depends. It depends on.
Generally, I mean, I'm sure these are numbers that we don't even look at on a regular basis.
No, so it depends. Frankly, there are, for example, finance department, which is a support department broadly from an advertising perspective. They take time because stickiness in finance roles across India, across different industries is far higher, which is how it's supposed to be. I mean, that's how they operate.
Right.
So, of course, when people don't move that quickly, it's difficult to hire them quickly as well.
True.
Because finance is a very trust-based department.
Right. And in such a people-centric service sort of business, work from home versus work from office, what's working?
They're completely work from office. See, it depends on who can do work from home and work from office. There are 3 parameters I usually look at for any company to choose. One, what is the average age of the team? If the age is very less, then they need hand-holding. When the average age is far higher, let's say for example in prod companies where you only hire deep experts, then the average age is higher, they know how to mature, they have been in the system for quite long, it is easier for them to even go flexible or work from home. Our agency business works on younger people, so it is one area. Second is to figure out the culture itself. India usually operates more as a student-mentor kind of culture in India. So people expect, you tell me what to do and I'll do it. When you go to American cultures or even European culture for that matter, they have a very different outlook towards work. So there it's relatively easier to go in that direction.
Right.
And thirdly and finally, you also need to understand which stage of the company you are at. If you have multiple startups who need very high touch engagement, very cohesive effort to be able to delight a client, then you need work from office. If they are laid back, large clients, relatively laid back, large clients, then things are a little different.
Sure.
75% of our clients, like I said, are in India. They need much more hand-holding. That's simply how the system is designed.
Sure. So what is that one challenge that the company might currently be working on? Like, it does sound a lot of things are very hunky-dory, in terms of how things are going, and I'm sure things are easier with a backing from Madison kind of company.
For sure.
But what would be that one challenge that the teams would be currently working to achieve?
We keep one challenge as central to our operation every year, which is as much as innovation as possible. And it becomes a challenge because every year the rule book changes. Digital advertising changes in 2-3 months. Like the next challenge we know is cookieless, right? Google is removing cookies. How will that impact our clients? Currently, this is February, and we are making annual operating plan for our clients also, for ourselves also. So we need to understand, let's say 7 months to 10 months down the line, would Cookieless hit any of our clients? If yes, how will that impact them also and us also?
Great,
So,
sure. One last thing that you might want to tell any potential decision makers who might be looking for a good digital agency right now.
if you're looking to really trust a company and say, hey, you know what, this is where I am, go figure it out and do it. And somebody who is not looking to handhold teams and become a manager for the external team, then yeah, HiveMinds is a better company to work with. I've worked, this is by the way my 4th agency. This is not, I have been working in agencies for quite some time.
Wow.
And I can say this with good confidence.
Okay. That's great, Ayush. Thank you so much. Very nice having you on the show.
Thank you so
all
much.
the best.
Thank you.